This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with Violent Gentlemen. I'm glad to say we're finally joined with Kelvin McDonald. How are you, Kelvin?
How's it going, Steve?
All's fantastic. Obviously, it's been probably a bit of a tough time. Obviously, the pandemic, probably for everybody. But how you've obviously been finding the pandemic and things yourself has just been trying to stay positive.
It's been hard, so it has. It's just trying to keep active and trying to get the motivation, get out of bed every day. It's been hard, but being on furlough and stuff from work and all that air caper, it's hard to get up and do something. But you finally, once you get going again, it's not so bad.
And obviously, you're a big lover of sport. We can obviously see football shirts in the background to sort of try to help you maintain sort of keep sort of thoughts off things, and obviously being a pro boxer and stuff as well. Obviously, wanting to get out and fight, but sometimes the other sports are sort of helping to ease the pain of not getting a fight.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's me be able to keep me busy and keep my mind active is watching the likes of football on TV and watching the shows, the big shows.
Mm-hmm.
That's the keep my mind active during this lockdown. So.
And I know a few times you've obviously had the itchy fingers at times because obviously they're saying you put posts up saying can't wait to get back in there. Hopefully fight news and things like that. So it's every fight card you're sort of watching, you're going, get me a fight, get me a fight.
You're watching some of the people. You're just like, that could be me, and you get excited again. You just want to kick on, but obviously you can't because of the whole pandemic.
Definitely is, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're getting to the end of it now. Sort of, you're only 22 years of age, so you're a baby pretty much within the sport. But what age did you sort of start out boxing yourself?
I started boxing at 9, so I did. When I was young, I was playing football and stuff, and then I broke my leg badly when I was younger, so I had to sort of lay off the football, and then I wanted to try something else, so I got taken into a boxing club, and the sort of kicked on from there.
So you pretty much from whenever I'm trying to work this out. Let me see. So about 13 years. So it's pretty much nearly around the time sort of Carl Frampton sort of started pro boxing, and
Yeah,
obviously now since retired sort of as well. So um, has Carl obviously been sort of probably been the biggest person obviously in your time of obviously boxing in Northern Ireland. Would he have been sort of one you would always have looked up to, or who would you have looked up to coming up in the sport?
he's definitely one of them. I love Frampton. I used to love going to his fights and all the Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
And then likes the other ones. I loved whenever I was younger. I loved all the Mexicans, like the Antonio Barreras and all them ones, and Ricky Hattons as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they all well.
People that love a good war.
Aye, that was me. Loved
What did you make of obviously Carl's last fight against Heron?
it was heartbreaking to watch. So it was, you just seeing his time and stuff, and age catches up in people, and that's just
Was.
sort of what time caught up on him.
And I think obviously the height and stuff as well. I think probably he had in his head what he wanted to do, but just obviously wasn't able to deliver it. Heron was able to just keep him off as much as possible.
Yeah.
So what got you into boxing at the age of 9 then? Was there any particular reason? Was it sort of, I know sometimes, like, I remember when I was younger, it was more like, get me into something to sort of so I can defend myself if somebody tries to fight. Was there any sort of influence that got you into boxing at all?
Not really. Just obviously I finished football and then whenever I was really young, like primary P2 and stuff, I sort of got bullied and stuff a wee bit.
Mm-hmm.
So my mum and that always wanted me to sort of defend myself too, so that was probably a bit towards it as well. I got taken down to be able to learn how to defend myself and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I'd say it's probably, sometimes the things you sometimes forget is why you sort of get into it was more the fact of if somebody has been able to defend yourself rather than coming home with black eyes and everything else, or if you're not a fast runner, that is, um,
Uh,
so talk to us obviously about your amateur career. So can you remember what sort of record you've had as an amateur?
Not really. It was, I think I looked at it the other day actually, it was something like 90 odd wins, and I think it was something like 70 losses as well. It wasn't, and I never really had a great amateur experience, never really took it serious.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I was young, so I think I went my first 10 fights without a win or something.
And obviously at that stage where you're sort of coming up early on in your first 10 fights, you're not winning. it's obviously demoralising sort of coming through and probably make you think I'm in the right sport here, you know, and then you get your first one and then you bring your belief back. You know, was
Yeah.
that sort of the case for you? Was it sort of, what am I doing this for? I'm losing, I'm not getting anywhere. Or was it just a case of coaches and stuff you had at the time just going, it's going to come, it's going to come?
Yeah, it was always coming. Like, each fight I seen the improvements, and I knew it was getting better and I was getting closer to it. And then I just sort of figured out what sort of style and stuff I wanted to go with, which when I was younger was totally different than now. But I just kept working towards it and ended up getting there, and then got my first win and fell in love.
And I guess by watching people like Ricky Hatton and Breyer and things like that, it's hard not to just probably emulate them so much sometimes and go, never worry about defence, just go and have a war. Obviously, amateur boxing's a lot different from the professional stuff.
That was me in the amateurs. I was taking 10 just to try and land one. So yeah.
10 points down before you land one, and then you're going, any wonder why I'm getting beat, you know. But I always like to touch on amateur careers sometimes because, you know, we've seen recently that amateur boxing means nothing sometimes in the pro game. You know, Lawrence Okolie obviously recently, you know, I think he had 20 fights as an amateur, and he's now a world champion. You know, so it's sort of ripping up the form book sometimes, going, well, I didn't need to be an Olympian, I didn't need to go this, that, or the other. As long as you work hard, anything can come to you in boxing.
Yeah, that's I mean, I had no motivation whatsoever for the hang around with for the elites or Olympics or try and get into any squads. There's no real motivation for it. So,
and obviously you then boxed on the semi-pro circuit under Marty Hayes. He's going to be given off to me after this, so I'm going to call him Hayes and Hayes. I guess you could call Marty anything. He'll answer to anything nowadays, won't he?
He'll get called anything.
Yeah. And how did you find sort of, you know, like I've sort of touched on this a few times with others I've fought on the semi-pro circuit, but it's obviously a good preparation for turning pro because you have to be able to sell tickets. You're fighting in front of crowds and stuff as well. How did you find the?
I loved it. Like Marty, it wasn't for Marty, I probably wouldn't be boxing. Marty got me back into it and stuff. I finished boxing, and I seen this tournament come up. Like flip my way, give it a crack, and I was actually in the reserve list, and then I was able to get onto it. So I was able to get onto it then, and then I boxed in the tournament, and that was it then.
Was that the one we were sort of talking off camera there with the Blood, Sweat and Tears 3, or was it one before
that? Blood 3 it was, wasn't it? Blood, yeah.
So it was a lightweight competition, 8 fighters, and funny, I was saying to you off camera there, and it's maybe something we'll try and put as a suggestion in this, but you fought Jimmy Douglas in the final, three round fight, and what a war it was.
It was the last fight of the night, and that's it, and everything that fight.
So and it was pretty much, you know, it's pretty much your ideal fight, sort of, when you look at sort of some of the people you've grown up watching boxing with. I don't think you and Jamie probably focused too much on the defence and just going, let's just fight.
Yeah, so I had all intentions in that fight, just to try to stay in the back foot, and then as soon as you realise what's up for grabs, all you want to do is go forward, and you don't want to take a backward step.
Particularly, you know, I think the fight ended up 2 rounds to 1 on all 3 cards to yourself, and you obviously seen your celebration straight afterwards. But was that when the call came from Boxing Ireland? Then how did that come about?
Well, I was meant to go down for like a trial. Boxing Ireland were a bit interested a year before I went into semi-pro, and I went to Dublin for a few spars, but ended up not coming together, and so then I just sort of stopped, and then went into semi-pro, and then as soon as that finished, Dennis got in touch with me again, and I went in and signed. So that.
And obviously I'm not sure what's obviously happening with Jamie Douglas. Obviously, he had his pro debut and obviously had a kid and stuff since, and I'm not sure, you know, I probably haven't spoke to him so much recently, but I'm not sure if he's obviously going to continue boxing. But I guess obviously in the pro sort of thing, Jamie would probably look at it and go, give me a rematch sort of thing and stuff as well. You know, at the end of the day, you all seem keen to fight, and whenever you fought previously, I guess you sort of go, why not? You know, if it gets us both a fight, you know, would that be something you would, if Jamie was looking for a dust up again or a chance at revenge, would it be something you'd look at?
It would depend on weight. He makes, well, I think he weighed in 54 or something for his last fight.
Mm-hmm.
I never do that. But if he wanted to come up and we became really good friends after.
Mm-hmm.
So hard, but obviously in the ring there's no friends, so it was for the right occasion and right thing. It's absolutely.
Definitely, it's all respect sometimes out of the ring, but obviously in the ring it's mano a mano and see who comes out on top. You know, and it's sort of the great thing about boxing is you could be an absolute animal in the ring, and then when the final bell goes, you're like, you know, well done, congratulations.
That's where it is.
Definitely is. And you've sort of had a bit of a war of words with one of your other opponents, Declan Kenna. What was going on there?
He's a nutcase. Him. He just likes to be heard, so he does. That's all he's good at, is talking.
And he was obviously talking about getting his license and signing with Boxing Ireland, and sort of the thing was there for a fight. You were saying that you were more than keen to have a go, and it just seems to be that he sort of forgot that he'd sort of agreed to fight again pro, and you know it's.
We were scheduled to fight, I think, in last March in Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all talk right out to it, and I sort of had an inkling he wasn't going to show up. And 3 days before he pulled out, so he did.
But so he's not a man of his word then, from what he's saying online, and just ignore him the next time he comes looking at them, I'm guessing.
That's all you can do now. Though he's hard right now. That's the only problem.
Definitely is. So sort of you made your debut 17th November 2018 in Short Social Club. You obviously probably couldn't have picked a nicer person. You obviously have your debut against Alec Baza. What do you remember much? Obviously making your debut in the pro circuit. Do you remember sort of much of your debut? I know obviously you dropped him. Was it first or second round? I think you dropped him.
First round.
First round, but obviously Alex just one of them people. He's mad in the ring, but then you give him a few pints after the fight, and he's mad again. You know, he's dancing and gonna ring about.
He's crazy. So he is. I never met a man like him before. I couldn't believe it. I walked in and seen him. I just looked up, like, flip, he's already my opponent. He's massive compared to me. But yeah, he's a big friendly giant, so yes.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody we have a lot of time for. He'll send us the odd post there on Instagram daily, sort of to give us a laugh and a joke. And he's obviously out in the building sites over in England somewhere. Obviously, he'll be out in all weather, you know. But obviously he's had a few injuries, and hopefully and get him back in the ring maybe at some stage and get another few fights with him. It's nearly coming up 2 years since your last fight, obviously, and you fought Ricky Leach. Celtic Clash 8, I think, in the Devonish.
Yeah, it was.
And obviously since then, the Stephen McAfee fight, it wasn't one that was initially planned for yourself, was it? You had another opponent, and then
I was scheduled to fight Aidan Metcalf. So it was maybe me and him in a 6-rounders, an eliminator. And then I go on and fight Metcalf for the title, Celtic title. I was faking it
for the title then, yeah.
It was faking at the time. It was eliminator for the Celtic title, but Aidan, he had a kid on the way. Every way it worked, it never worked out. So he had to play out the fight too. But hopefully that's one I want down the line. Hopefully we make it.
Yep, and obviously they like tell me, obviously, you know, when you suffer a defeat, obviously sometimes, you know, people's obviously very focused. Sometimes you win, but sometimes the losses can really hurt. When you sort of look back on the McAfee fight, would you sort of look at it and go, maybe it was a little bit too early, you know, having a fight against someone a bit more experienced?
I do and I don't, because I felt if I never got dropped that round, I'd have been 2 rounds to 1 up, and when I felt I could have seen it out, but at the end of the day, I never seen that round out. So as maybe was one I took a bit too early, or I maybe just didn't train hard enough for it and stuff like that there. So,
but everything sort of goes on in your head sometimes. When you don't win, you're going, you know, did I do my diet right? Did I do this or do that right? You know, you start doubting everything you've done. So you've obviously had over a year and a half now sort of twiddling your thumbs, sort of going, get me back in there, right the wrongs. Have you sort of tried to adjust anything in your boxing at all since, or?
Uh, I've changed sort of bits of my style and stuff, different wee bits I've been doing, but at a point over the lockdown, I thought it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Come back to boxing, and obviously, past couple of weeks, I've sort of tried to get back into it, and I've loved it. And the only problem is I'm a wee bit up in weight, so that's my main focus now, is try to cut the weight and actually properly go down. So most of my fights, I've never dieted or trained properly, which has been obviously a mistake of my own. I've just taken things too easy. It was like, oh, it's only him, it'll be all right. So it doesn't really matter now. My mindset's more changed. It's more like, no, it doesn't matter who it is, you have to put full 100% in, else you won't go in. So that's what.
That's sort of good. And that's sort of, I think I sort of cut you off a bit there, and that's the sort of thing sometimes that people sort of forget in the sport is, your diet, your strength and conditioning and things like that. So it's obviously honest of you to say, maybe I did cut corners and things, because, for a lot of boxers sort of sometimes coming up, they forget them wee 1% that'll make the difference between winning and losing sometimes. So when you lose early on, I guess it's easy to repair. Whereas if you get to 9 or 10-0 and then you lose and then you go, you know what, I'll not do it again. Whereas you've less repetitions you've done to repair sort of damage that's been done at the same time.
Where I've gone wrong, so I know where I can fix it and stuff like that, because there's nights where I can't be bothered and it's a Friday night or something, or like, oh, well, I'll go in the night. No, I'll just skip the night, and you'd end up not showing up in the gym, and you can't be doing that. So
I know Kieran McVarnick I spoke to recently as well. Obviously, he's used a lot of positive mental stuff. Sort of sometimes, he's out of the ring 2 years and back next week. I would say the last time he fought was when you fought Ricky Leach coming up 2 years ago. So he's at that sort of positive mindset, sort of forget about the negatives and sort of go, what am I in the sport for? What I want to do. And sometimes just looking at sort of wee goals within yourself. And I guess whenever you get fight news again, I'm sure it'll all become real for you.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to get back in there and just get motivated and really give it a good go this time, and obviously set myself the goals I want, which is I want to at least win a Celtic Irish title. So I'll just come back. That'll be my building stone to work towards them.
And what is, what would be your ideal weight you would sort of like to compete at?
I think, what was my last couple? Lightweight, were they?
I think they were lightweight, aye.
I'd like to try and make sort of failure if I've done it properly and go down to 59 and around that air. Go with her. If I could try, maybe give it a push towards 57. But I would have to wait and see, obviously, what way the first one went, and then work on.
Yeah, sort of bring it down gradually sometimes, rather than going too, because then the fear you have is you cut too much weight and then your punch resistance has gone to everything. You've nothing left at it,
I weighed in at 58 kilo or something for it, and it's been one of my best performances. So obviously I know if I can make 58. Well, I could. I put on a lot of weight over lockdown and stuff. So, if I can make 58 again and then push the extra kilo, I think I'll be able to perform well still down there. So, been interesting one to see.
Definitely will. Sort of looking at your obviously your love probably more closer to him. You're obviously a big fan of Lauren. Obviously, Lauren's having a brilliant season. Obviously won the, as I call it, the bin lid, but they won the County Antrim Shield, and they're in a final tomorrow night against Linfield in the Irish Cup final. And I'm guessing, obviously, sometimes they obviously say it's the underdog, sort of, the big chance of obviously becoming obviously Irish Cup champions. Is it a game you're going to get to tomorrow night, or just be one to watch on the TV?
I'll be one to watch on the TV, so I'll work and stuff. So by the time I get home, I wouldn't be able to make it way up. So I'll be one to be tuning into on the TV, and hopefully Lauren get the win.
I'm sort of just hoping for a tough game, probably more than anything. I'm obviously a big Korean fan, and we've still a chance to win the league. So we probably need to beat 3 or 4 of the Linfield players to get injured tomorrow night. So if Lauren can sort of do that for us, we'll let them win, I suppose.
Aye.
You know, is it obviously been good that obviously you're, you know, the club that you support and stuff as well, that they're obviously behind you and supporting you with sponsorship and stuff as well? How did that sort of come about?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think Kenny Bruce seen one of my posts and stuff, and he inquired to me about what it would take and stuff. So he got behind me, so he did, and give me a bit of sponsorship, which I'm grateful for. And they've helped me out a few times, Lauren, and it's great to be working with them.
And obviously, when it
But
was a club you support and stuff as well, it means a lot when they're getting behind you. You know, you're the only, I think, you know, hopefully I'm not wrong here, but you're the only current professional boxer from Larne. So the community get behind you, you know, and obviously hoping that you can achieve your dreams.
yeah, absolutely. It's well, like the Lauren and stuff behind you. It's obviously, if you look at Owen O'Neill, he's the perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
He's got well behind him, and he's doing wonders with bringing crowds in and all that air cater. So I'm hoping to do the same, but with Lauren.
Yep,
So
definitely, and them all getting behind you and stuff as well. Like I think I'd seen one of your posts. I think, you know, I'm not sort of doing this to sort of slate you in a way, but obviously in professional boxing, you have to be able to sell tickets in order to fight. And I think you were actually having to pull out of a show for obviously not selling enough tickets. And I think it's seen actually Kenny had said, give me a shout, you know, what do you need to sort of fight, you know, so fair play to Kenny. Sort of sometimes he gets abuse online for his views with Lauren and everything else, but he was out there to support, to try and get you fighting and everything else. So, you know, big up to Kenny for doing that.
yeah, absolutely. It was. I think that was actually the Ricky Leach show, was it? It was one of Cully Clash or something.
I
And
think it. I think it may have would potentially been for February of last year.
oh, yes, that was in the Devonish too, and it was meant to go ahead, and I was going to take it on late notice, so to have a fight and get back in, and obviously with the late notice and stuff, I couldn't sell enough tickets, and Kenny offered to step in and cover the cost, but whenever I actually looked at it, it was late notice and getting the training in, I wouldn't have been able to get fit enough or do it reasonably good enough to give a decent performance. So that's whenever I stepped aside and just I just thank Kenny anyway, and thanks for stepping in, and he's helping out now with other sponsorships for next week.
Fantastic. And sort of, you know, looking at the, you know, because probably the reason obviously that boxing tickets and I was sort of formed was to sort of help boxers with ticket sales, because, you know, it's a hard slog. You know, you're out working every day and you have to go train and everything else, and then you have to go and sell tickets. It can be can take a lot of your personal time out, and you know that's the biggest probably thing that people sometimes tell me I'm mad for doing what I do, but boxing's a brutal sport, and sometimes the more help you can have, the better. You know, they obviously, any of your fans and stuff like that sometimes watching, because let's face it, everybody's got mates that will go, yeah, I'll go to your next fight, blah, blah, blah. And then it comes to, I do want tickets. And they're saying no. You know, I don't think sometimes friends and family and probably other people don't realise how important every ticket sale is towards you fighting.
Absolutely. That's the famous words you say. It's after you fight and you get a good win, everyone's like, oh, I can't wait, I'll go to your next one, I'll go to your next one. You text them, the next one's like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I'm away this weekend. It's no. It's I think everyone likes to jump on and congratulate you and obviously say well done and all, but at the end of the day, they weren't the ones that were there and came and watched and supported, so they obviously aren't as close as what they should be.
And I guess obviously sometimes with, you know, probably been a wee bit further out from Larne, you know, if there was probably say a show done in Inver Park, you know, it'd be a totally different story, because it's close for everybody to go. You know, you probably have to dangle the card for people sometimes and go, you know, 30 quid, you know, for a ticket. You get to watch 10 or 12 fights. You enjoy the atmosphere. You have a few drinks. And it's a really good night out, rather than going to a pub or wherever else. It's something different for people. And
a drink. Inver Park, the fight in Inver Park it'd be great. And obviously, I feel like if I got on the likes of that show, I'd be able to sell the place out because it's close to home, and everyone can watch it then, and everyone in Larne love watching a good fight and a few drinks, so they go hand in hand. Never in Larne, but obviously they don't seem to like travel.
Definitely doesn't, and sort of that's sort of maybe a wee goal you can set yourself to motivate yourself for the future, and going, maybe one day could be fighting in Inver Park, and you know, probably 4,000 or 5,000 seats there by that stage, because I know Kenny's sort of putting new stands in everywhere you can find them at the minute.
There's a new stand going up there at the minute. I was actually playing a match last night at Inver Park too, so it was. So it's a new stand now being built at the minute.
Definitely, and obviously it's good to see for, obviously, because Larne were obviously out of the top tier of Irish League football for a while, and McKenny coming in, he's obviously pumped money and pumped good foundations into the club to obviously help for the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And their youth system's unreal at the minute. So some of the good youth players they have coming up, they look set for the future too.
Definitely. So I guess sometimes it'll probably go hand in hand. The more Larne's successful, obviously it'll help obviously you to maybe bring some fans from football across into boxing as well.
Like I say, I know Neil and stuff, what he does with Cliftonville fans. That'd be great if I could get with Alarm fans, two of them going hand in hand. It'd be a good atmosphere.
Definitely would.
Cool.
And I'm sure Kenny would like to bring boxing back to Larne as well. So maybe obviously if he's watching this interview and he go, good idea, when was the last boxing event in Larne?
Yeah.
Make it the doors start open, and I'm sure Leonard and Dennis will be interested in
Kenny and Inver Park. I think it'd be possible for a fight there. He'd be more than welcome, I think, to put on a show for us. So he would, and have me on it.
Definitely would. And sort of, do you know, sort of, as a guess, is it I guess it's a case of waiting for fans to return. They obviously boxing and small shows in Northern Ireland before you can sort of look at fight news.
Yeah, I've been told a few dates, nothing really set in stone yet, but yeah, it's just obviously once fans return and stuff, it's that'll be it. Then I'll be back at it. So I got offered a few fights over lockdown stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got offered a fight in the Eddie Hearn fight camp, so that and Hopey Price, but I wasn't fit or nothing. I wasn't right. I was ballooned up in weight, so it never came through.
And Hopey's obviously been taken. I think Hopey's quite a big size as well, and he sort of seems to transition well. But I guess it probably shows the nature of you, Kelvin, that you'll just take any fight.
That's what I mean. It's for like as soon as they said, I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then I took a second back to think about it, and then the weight and stuff, because obviously everyone has two arms and two legs, and we all breathe the same air, so anyone can be beaten on the night, like. But it's obviously just didn't come to fruition. So never.
That'd have been some atmosphere there, fighting in Eddie Hearn's back garden. You're probably, your social medias would have went crazy through it.
I've been unreal, so would it? That was the main reason behind it as well. We're getting the fight over there in the back garden, and show obviously like Eddie Hearn stuff what we can do as well, because obviously see the likes Eric Donovan, he went out, he boxed in the fight camp shows, and obviously he never got the win, but he impressed Eddie Hearn. It looks like Eddie Hearn's going to give him more opportunities.
Definitely is, and that's what it's about. Sometimes getting the right opportunity at the right time to sort of excel your career. I know obviously Boxing Ireland have obviously had their show in Luxembourg, and the one coming up now in Alicante then the next month. Obviously, it's probably a bit too much of an ask, for yourself, with obviously, being furloughed and everything else, and everything else. But it's a cost sometimes and stuff as well. It's like if you're to go out to one of them shows, you have to pay for your opponent. You have to pay for your flights, your PCR test, and everything else. And I guess sometimes people on the outside sort of looking in and go, well, why are you not fighting in that show? And you're going, well, give me a couple of grand.
That's what I mean. It's I was originally looked like I was going to get onto the Alicante show, and then obviously costs and stuff of being on furlough, it never happened. That's what I was saying. Everyone's like, oh, why don't you go fight on it? Everyone thinks because you're a professional boxer, you're a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
But it stops at your skin majority of the time.
Exactly. It'd be nice to be a millionaire, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? It'd be lovely. It'd be a lot easier. So,
definitely would it, because obviously you see fighters at different stages of their careers. I think with Frampton and stuff like that as well, and Stephen Ward and Conrad Cummins, they've been able to use Man Cities. I think I lost you. I think like Carl Frampton and Conrad Cummins and Stephen Ward have always been able to use Man City's facilities and stuff at times as well, which is state of the art. So I guess the more money you sometimes have, the better you can train and prepare. Yeah. It'd be nice to dream.
It'd be nice to dream. So it definitely.
I definitely would. Obviously, we've sort of got to the end of our sort of questions sort of we have for you. We always like to give you an opportunity to sort of thank some sponsors that because obviously been involved in, if have you lost any during the pandemic, and I guess you've always room for a new sponsor as well.
I've plenty of room for new sponsors. That's why I've always got a few loyal ones, which is I've obviously Lauren. They sponsor me. I've got Prestige, flooring and bathrooms. They're a kitchen place in Lauren. There's Gum Shields. What's the name of them? What is her name? Go To Gum Shields. So it is obviously them. They help me with all my gum shields and stuff like that there. And that's it, mainly for my main ones. So obviously there's plenty of room for new ones, and hopefully going to be in contact with you over the next couple of weeks, and obviously get ready for the next shows.
Definitely, obviously with business and stuff returning again now, they'll have to look at ways of advertising and sponsorship, and what more so than a Larne business getting behind a Larne man, and helping each other out, which is the main thing, and it goes hand in hand, Anything else you want to add in, or?
No, that's everything. That's me and everything I wanted to say and stuff.
Definitely. Well, look, it's been great to finally get you on and get a chat. Obviously, we'll wish you luck, and obviously getting some fight news soon, and getting back to some sort of normality. And obviously good luck to Larne tomorrow night as well in the Irish Cup final as well.
Hopefully get the win today.
Well, listen, Kelvin, thanks for joining us. Hopefully catch up again soon.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Cheers. Take care. Thanks. Bye bye.